What if a single peanut butter sandwich could shatter 7 years of heartbreaking silence? Imagine that! A billionaire's daughter, locked in her own world, finally speaks because of a poor black boy no one saw coming. Stick around, because this story will change how you see miracles. Welcome to Black Man Notebook, where real stories hit different. Laughter happy, Eva said again, a little louder, like she was tasting the word. Then she pointed at Noah, happy at her parents, happy at herself. Happy. Sarah collapsed into Henry's arms, sobbing. 7 years of silence, broken by one perfect word. The security cameras captured everything, but nothing could have prepared Henry Whitaker for what he saw on the screen. His 7-year-old daughter, Eva, who had never spoken a single word in her entire life, was sitting on the mansion's back steps next to the garbage bins. And there, next to her, was a teenage black boy in torn clothes. Someone who absolutely shouldn't be on their property. Henry's finger hovered over the panic button that would summon security in seconds. But then he saw something that made his blood freeze. Eva was smiling. Not the polite practice smile she gave to her therapists. Not the sad half-smile she offered her mother when trying to make her feel better. This was real joy spreading across her face like sunrise. And then Henry had to replay the footage to believe it. Eva's mouth moved not randomly, not like the 1,000 times before when doctors had watched hopefully. She was forming a word. One perfect, impossible word. The boy hadn't touched her, hadn't bribed her, hadn't done any of the fancy exercises the $500 per hour specialists had tried. He'd simply been sitting there, sharing his peanut butter sandwich, talking to her like she was just another kid. But hold on, how did a homeless teen sneak past guards and steal a rich girl's heart? You won't believe what happens next. It's the twist that hooked me, and it'll hook you to. Sarah, Henry's wife, stood behind him, her hand pressed to her mouth, tears streaming down her face. Did she just. Did our baby just? She spoke. Henry whispered, his voice cracking. After 7 years of silence, she spoke to a stranger, a homeless boy, going through our garbage. But to understand how we got here, we need to go back to where it all began, 3 months earlier. Henry Whitaker stood in his daughter's therapy room, watching yet another specialist pack up their equipment in defeat. Dr. Morrison, supposedly the best childhood speech doctor in the country, couldn't hide her frustration. Mr. Whitaker, I've tested everything. Eva's vocal cords are perfect. Her hearing is above average. Brain scans show normal activity in all speech areas. There is absolutely no medical reason why she can't speak. Then why doesn't she? Henry's voice carried 7 years of exhaustion. Sometimes. Sometimes children make a choice, conscious or unconscious. Eva has chosen silence, and I don't know why. What happened next still gives me chills. That evening, Henry found his wife Sarah in Eva's room, reading a bedtime story to their silent daughter. Eva's blue eyes tracked every word, her small hands signing responses in the fancy sign language she'd learned. She understood everything. She could communicate through writing, signing, and an iPad app. But her voice, the one thing her parents desperately wanted to hear, remained locked away. Sometimes I wonder if she's punishing us, Sarah whispered after Eva fell asleep. For what? We've given her everything. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe we've given her everything except what she actually needs. Little did they know, this decision would change everything. The next morning started like every other. Eva woke at exactly 7 a.m., dressed herself in the outfit the styling consultant had selected, ate her organic breakfast prepared by their private chef, and began her homeschooling with Mrs. Peterson. She completed every assignment perfectly, her written answers showing smarts beyond her years. But not a sound escaped her lips. Henry watched from his home office, his heart breaking a little more each day. His daughter was a ghost in her own life, present but not really there, visible but not truly seen. That's when he heard it. A crash from the back of the mansion. Wait, I need to tell you something crucial here. Their garbage collection was supposed to be handled by a private service that came at 4 a.m., ensuring the Whitakers never had to see or think about their waste. But this Tuesday morning, someone was definitely going through their bins. Henry grabbed his phone to call security, then stopped. Through the window, he could see the intruder, a teenage boy, maybe 15 or 16, carefully sorting through their recycling. He wasn't making a mess. In fact, he was organizing everything, pulling out cans and bottles with practice speed. The boy was thin, his clothes worn but clean, his hair in neat twists despite his obvious poverty. He handled each item carefully, as if even garbage deserved respect, and he was humming some tune Henry didn't recognize, but it was beautiful. Can you imagine how different this was from Henry's usual world? Here was someone finding value in what they'd thrown away. Security can handle this, Henry muttered, reaching for his phone again, but then Eva appeared in the backyard. Henry's heart stopped. His daughter never went outside alone. She was supposed to be in her math lesson, but there she was, standing perfectly still, watching the boy with an expression Henry had never seen on her face before. Curiosity. The boy looked up and saw her. Henry expected him to run. Instead, the teenager smiled. The warmest, most genuine smile Henry had witnessed in years. "Hey there, little one," the boy said gently. "Didn't mean to make noise. Just collecting recyclables, you know, saving the planet one bottle at a time." Eva tilted her head, studying him like he was a puzzle she couldn't solve. "I'm Noah," the boy continued, as if having a one-sided chat was perfectly normal. "What's your name?" Eva, of course, said nothing. But instead of the usual awkwardness that followed when people realized she wouldn't respond, Noah just nodded. "That's cool. You don't have to talk. I talk enough for 10 people, my mama always said." God rest her soul, they had no idea they only had 72 hours before their lives would intersect in an unimaginable way. Eva sat down on the back steps, still watching Noah work. He kept talking, sharing stories about the neighborhood, about school, about his little sister, who was staying with their aunt while he figured things out. "You know what I love about bottles?" Noah asked, holding up a green glass one to catch the morning light. "They sing. Listen." He blew across the top, creating a low, haunting note. "Every bottle has its own voice. This one's a baritone. The clear ones are usually sopranos." Eva's eyes widened. For the first time in years, Henry saw genuine interest in his daughter's face. "Want to try?" Noah offered her a small bottle. Eva looked back at the house, as if asking permission from the universe. Then she took the bottle and held it to her lips. No sound came out, but she mimed blowing, her cheeks puffing out comically. Noah laughed, not at her, but with delight. "That's the spirit. You're a natural bottle musician. Actually, let me pause here, because this detail is important." Henry had hired comedians, musicians, entertainers of every kind to try to make Eva laugh, to engage her, to draw out her voice. They'd all failed. But this homeless boy, with nothing but recycled bottles and genuine kindness, had made her try something new. For 20 minutes, Henry watched them. Noah never asked why Eva didn't speak. He never looked at her with pity or frustration. He just treated her like a normal kid who happened to prefer silence. When Noah finally stood to leave, dragging his bag of recyclables, Eva did something unprecedented. She waved, not the mechanical wave she'd been taught in therapy, but an enthusiastic whole-arm wave that said, "Please come back, same time Thursday." Noah asked, "That's recycling day for this whole block? Prime bottle hunting time?" Eva nodded so hard her blonde curls bounced, but that's when they discovered something that made their blood run cold. Mrs. Peterson, Eva's tutor, appeared in the doorway, her face pinched with disapproval. "Eva, you're supposed to be in lessons. And you." She glared at Noah. "You're trespassing." "I'm calling the police." "No," Henry surprised himself by shouting, rushing outside. "No, it's fine. He's allowed. Double quotes. Mrs. Peterson looked scandalized. Mr. Whitaker, this boy is a leaving," Noah said quietly, shouldering his bag. "Sorry for the trouble, sir. Won't happen again." Eva's face crumbled. She grabbed Henry's hand and pointed at Noah, then at herself, her eyes pleading. "Thursday," Henry heard himself say. "You can come back Thursday." Noah's smile could have powered the city. "Thursday it is. See you then, little musician." As Noah walked away, Eva stood at the window and watched until he disappeared around the corner. Then she did something she'd never done before. She went to her iPad and typed a single word, showing it to Henry. "Friend. What happened next still makes my heart race." Thursday came, and Eva was at the back door at dawn, waiting. She'd arranged bottles on the steps, ones she'd secretly saved from the recycling bin. When Noah appeared, his face lit up at the offering. "You saved these for me." "That's beautiful, little one. But you know what? How about we split the profit, partners?" Eva's eyes went wide. No one had ever offered to be her partner in anything. She was always the patient, the student, the problem to be solved. For the next hour, they sorted bottles together. Noah talked about everything and nothing. How glass was made, why recycling mattered, stories about the interesting things he'd found in rich people's garbage. Found a whole telescope once, he said. Still works too. Now I know all the constellations. Want to know my favorite? Eva nodded eagerly. Cassiopeia. She was a queen who talked too much, so the gods put her in the sky upside down to teach her humility. He paused. But I think maybe she just needed someone to listen to her properly, you know? Eva's hand moved to her throat, touching it gently. In exactly 17 minutes. Their lives would be changed forever. Sarah had been watching from the kitchen window. She came outside with a tray of sandwiches and juice, trying to act casual, but clearly desperate to understand what magic this boy possessed. You must be hungry, she offered. Noah looked at the fancy sandwiches, prosciutto and arugula, with polite confusion. Thank you, Mom, but I'm okay, please. Sarah's voice cracked slightly. Join us. They sat on the back porch, an odd trio. The billionaire's wife in her designer dress, the homeless teen in his thrift store clothes, and the silent girl who connected them. She seems to like you, Sarah ventured carefully. Eva's cool, Noah said simply. She listens better than anyone I know, but she doesn't. She can't talk. Noah shrugged. So what? My grandma used to say, the wisest people speak the least. Eva probably has so much wisdom stored up. When she finally does talk, it'll change the world. Eva leaned against Noah's shoulder, a gesture of trust she'd never shown to any therapist, specialist, or even relatives. Can you imagine how that must have felt for Sarah? Watching her daughter trust a stranger more than she'd ever trusted them? How do you do it? Sarah whispered. We've tried everything. Specialists from Switzerland, experimental treatments, music therapy, art therapy, horse therapy. Maybe that's the problem, Noah said gently. You're trying to fix her, but she ain't broken. She's just selective. My mom always said, some people are like rare flowers. They only bloom when they feel truly safe. Little did they know, Eva was absorbing every word. Over the next weeks, Noah became a regular fixture. Henry had his security team run a background check. The boy was exactly what he seemed. Parents dead, living in a youth shelter, collecting recyclables to save money for his sister's school supplies. Clean record, good grades when he managed to attend school. No gang ties. We should hire him, Henry told Sarah one evening. Officially, as a companion for Eva, he won't accept charity. Sarah had learned that much. Noah had pride that all their money couldn't buy. Then we make it a real job part-time, after school. But that's when everything changed in a way no one expected. The police sirens wailed outside the Whitaker mansion at 2 a.m., their blue and red lights painting Eva's bedroom walls like a nightmare. Henry found his daughter standing at her window, her small hand pressed against the glass, tears streaming down her silent face. They're taking Noah, Sarah whispered from the doorway, her voice breaking through the window. They could see Noah in handcuffs, being pushed into a police car. His face was bruised, his lips split, but his eyes searched the mansion windows until they found Eva. He smiled at her, that same warm, genuine smile, and mouthed, "It's okay, little musician." Eva's mouth opened in a scream that didn't come. Her whole body shook with the effort of trying to speak, to call out to him, to stop this from happening. What happened next still gives me chills. Henry was already on the phone with his lawyer, but the damage was done. Eva collapsed to the floor, her silent sobs more heartbreaking than any sound could have been. What did he do? Sarah demanded as Henry hung up. He didn't do anything. He was protecting his sister. Some older boys were trying to hurt her. Noah fought them off, but he's 18 as of last week. The other boys are minors. Their parents are pressing charges. Eva suddenly stood up, her face fierce with determination. She went to her iPad and started typing furiously, then showed it to her parents. Save him. He saved me first, sweetheart. Henry knelt beside her. Noah. It didn't save you. Eva threw the iPad across the room, the first violent action of her life. Then she did something that changed everything. She opened her mouth and forced out a sound. Not a word, just a raw, primal cry of anguish that seemed to come from the depths of her soul. It was the first sound she'd made in 7 years. Little did they know, this was just the beginning. Henry spent the rest of the night on the phone with lawyers, judges, anyone with power. By morning, Noah was released on bail that Henry posted. But Noah refused to come to the mansion. I can't bring my troubles to your door, he told Henry at the courthouse. Eva doesn't need to see this mess. Eva needs you, Henry said, surprising himself with the admission. She made a sound last night. When she saw them taking you, she tried to scream. Noah's eyes filled with tears. She found her voice because of pain. That's not how it should happen. Then come back. Show her that you're okay. Show her that speaking doesn't have to come from fear. Wait, I need to tell you something crucial here. When Noah walked through the Whitakers' front door, the actual front door, not sneaking around to the garbage bins, Eva was waiting. She ran to him, something she'd never done with anyone, and wrapped her arms around his waist. Noah knelt down to her level, his bruised face gentle. Hey, little musician. I'm okay, see. Just a few battle scars makes me look tough, right? Eva touched his split lip gently, her eyes questioning. I had to protect my sister. Noah explained. Just like I'd protect you. That's what friends do. Eva looked at him for a long moment. Then she took his hand and led him to the piano in the living room, an instrument that had sat untouched despite years of lessons. She pointed at the piano, then at Noah. You want me to play? I don't really know how. Eva climbed onto the bench and patted the spot beside her. Then she did something remarkable. She placed Noah's fingers on specific keys and pressed them down, creating a simple melody. Then she looked at him expectantly. You want me to learn this? She nodded and repeated the pattern, patient as Noah fumbled through it. It took him 15 minutes to get it right, but when he did, Eva smiled and added her own harmony with her left hand. They were making music together. The silent girl and the homeless boy, creating something beautiful. Actually, let me pause here, because this detail is important. Sarah recorded the whole thing on her phone, tears streaming down her face. In 7 years of the world's best music therapists, no one had thought to let Eva be the teacher instead of the student. Over the next 2 weeks, while Noah's case worked through the legal system, he came every day. Eva taught him piano. He taught her bottle music. They developed an elaborate communication system of gestures, expressions, and shared jokes that needed no words, but the breakthrough came on an ordinary Thursday afternoon. They had no idea they only had 3 hours before everything would change. Noah was telling Eva about his mother, something he rarely did. She used to sing to me when I was scared, he said, his fingers tracing the piano keys absently. This old gospel song about joy coming in the morning. When she died, I thought I'd never feel joy again. But you know what? She was right. It just took a while for morning to come. Eva listened intently, her blue eyes never leaving his face. My sister Keisha. She looks a lot like you. Not physically. She's got our mama's eyes and our daddy's stubborn chin. But inside, she feels everything so deeply. Sometimes it's too much for words. Eva pointed to herself, then made a gesture they developed that meant me too. I know, little musician. I knew from the first day. You're not silent because you can't speak. You're silent because you feel too much. Words would make it smaller. And you don't want small feelings. You want the big ones. Can you imagine how perfectly he understood her? Eva stood up suddenly and walked to a drawer. She pulled out a piece of paper she'd been hiding and handed it to Noah. It was a drawing, crude but clear, of 2 figures holding hands, one tall and dark, one small and light. Above them, she'd written one word over and over, practicing until it was perfect. Friend. Double quotes. Oh, Eva. Noah's voice broke. Yes, always, friends forever. Eva took a deep breath. Henry and Sarah, watching from the doorway, held theirs. Eva's mouth opened, her lips formed a shape, and then, in a whisper so soft it was almost imaginary, happy. The word hung in the air like a miracle. Noah didn't react with shock or excitement. He simply smiled and whispered back, me too. What happened next still makes my heart race. Happy, Eva said again, a little louder, like she was tasting the word. Then she pointed at Noah, happy at her parents, happy at herself, happy. Sarah collapsed into Henry's arms, sobbing. 7 years of silence, broken by one perfect word, but Eva wasn't done. She looked at Noah, gathering courage, and added, stay, to words. After 7 years of nothing, to words that meant everything. Wild horses couldn't drag me away, Noah promised, but that's when they discovered something that made their blood run cold. Henry's phone rang. It was his lawyer. The other boys' families weren't just pressing charges. They were suing Noah for assault. If they won, Noah would go to youth detention until he was 21. No, the word exploded from Eva with such force that everyone jumped. No, 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 she ran to her father, grabbing his hands. Words now tumbling out in a rush. Noah good. Noah friend. Help Noah, please. Daddy, please. Each word was struggled for, fought for, earned through sheer determination. Eva's voice, unused for so long, cracked and whispered, but it was there. It was real. Henry looked at his daughter, really looked at her. This wasn't the silent, perfect doll they'd been trying to fix for 7 years. This was a warrior fighting for someone she loved. We're going to help him, Henry promised. Whatever it takes. Little did they know, the solution would come from the most unexpected place. The next morning, Eva insisted on going to court with Noah. She'd never been in such a public place. Henry and Sarah had always protected her from crowds, worried about her condition, but Eva marched in, holding Noah's hand on one side and her father's on the other. When the judge asked Noah to explain what happened, Eva stood up. I speak, she said, her voice still rough and new. The courtroom went silent. Henry's lawyer tried to intervene, but the judge, intrigued, let her continue. Noah, teach me. He see me, not broken. Eva, just Eva. She pulled out her iPad, where she typed a longer message, and handed it to the judge. Your Honor, the judge read aloud. Noah saved his sister like he saved me. Not from bad boys, but from silence. He never asked me to speak. He just showed me it was safe to try. Please don't take him away. He's teaching me to be brave. The judge looked at this tiny girl who'd found her voice to defend a homeless teenager. How long have you been silent? He asked gently. 7 years, Eva managed. And you're speaking now for Noah? Eva nodded, then added one more word, family, in exactly 17 minutes. Their lives would be changed forever. The judge reviewed the case files, the security footage from the incident with Noah's sister, the character testimonials Henry's lawyers had gathered, but it was Eva's testimony that swayed him. It seems to me, the judge said finally, that Mr. Noah Williams acted in defense of his minor sister against 3 attackers. The fact that he's recently turned 18 doesn't negate his right to protect a child from harm. Case dismissed. The courtroom erupted. Eva threw herself into Noah's arms. And for the first time in 7 years, she laughed. Really laughed. The sound rusty but real. Thank you, she whispered in his ear. No, little musician. Thank you. What would you have done in this situation? Outside the courthouse, Henry made a decision that shocked everyone, including himself. Noah, I want to offer you something. Not charity, a real proposal. Come live with us. Be Eva's companion officially, but also be part of our family. You and Keisha both. We have more rooms than we know what to do with. Noah's pride warred with practicality. Mr. Whitaker. Henry, please. Henry, I appreciate it, but, Noah, Eva interrupted, her voice stronger now. Stay, please, need you. Sarah added, we all need you. You gave us back our daughter. Let us give you and Keisha a home. Noah looked at Eva's hopeful face. Thought of Keisha in their aunt's overcrowded apartment. Thought of the shelter where he'd been sleeping. Not charity, he confirmed. Family, Henry said firmly. Eva is right. You're family now. But that's when everything changed in ways nobody expected. 6 months later, the Whitaker mansion was unrecognizable. Not physically, it still had the same marble floors and priceless art, but the soul of the place had transformed. Keisha's laughter echoed through halls that had been silent for years. She and Eva had become inseparable, teaching each other. Eva helped with homework while Keisha taught her the latest dances. Noah was finishing high school with Henry's support, his grades soaring now that he didn't have to worry about survival. He'd been accepted to 3 colleges, all offering full scholarships after his story went viral. Homeless teen helps billionaire's mute daughter find her voice, but the biggest change was Eva. She didn't speak constantly. She probably never would. But when she did speak, her words carried weight. She'd started a blog, typing what she couldn't always say about choosing not to speak and the pressure of being fixed. I was never broken, she wrote. I was just waiting for someone who understood that silence can be a choice, not a prison. Noah saw me, not my condition. He heard me even when I didn't speak. That's love. Actually, let me tell you about the moment that proved everything had changed. It was Eva's 8th birthday party, the first she'd ever wanted. Not a huge affair with hundreds of strangers, just family. Real family. As she blew out her candles, Henry asked, "What did you wish for?" Eva smiled, that same sunrise smile from the security footage. Already came true. What came true, sweetheart? She looked around the table, at Noah helping Keisha with her cake, at her parents holding hands, at the butler sneaking frosting, at the warm chaos of it all. This, she said clearly. Family bigger than blood. Sarah was crying again, but happy tears this time. When did you become so wise? Eva pointed at Noah. Good teacher. Noah raised his glass of juice. To Eva, who taught me that the best conversations don't always need words. To Noah, Henry countered. Who taught us that wealth isn't about what you have, but what you're willing to share. To family, Keisha added. However it finds you. To love, Eva concluded, her voice stronger than ever. Always finds way. Can you imagine the joy in that room? 1 year later, at Noah's high school graduation, Eva gave the surprise speech. She'd been practicing for months in secret. My name is Eva Whitaker, she began, her voice clear and strong. For 7 years, I didn't speak. People thought I was broken. My parents spent millions trying to fix me. But I wasn't broken. I was just waiting for someone who would hear me without words. The audience was riveted. Noah Williams heard me. He saw a silent girl and didn't see a problem to solve. He saw a friend. He taught me that voices come in many forms. In bottle music, in piano keys, in the silence between words where real understanding lives. She looked directly at Noah in his cap and gown, tears streaming down his face. You gave me my voice not by forcing me to speak, but by showing me I was worth listening to, even in silence. You saved me, Noah, not from mutism, but from loneliness. The standing ovation lasted 5 minutes, but the most beautiful moment came later. Privately, that night, as the family celebrated Noah's acceptance to Columbia University on full scholarship, Eva pulled him aside. Noah, yeah, little musician, I need to tell you something. What's that? The first word. Happy. That wasn't really my first word. Noah's eyebrows rose. What do you mean? I spoke once before, when I was 3. Right after Mom told me we were getting a baby brother or sister. Eva's eyes filled with tears. I said, yay. But then Mom lost the baby, and she was so sad. And I thought my word had somehow caused it. So I stopped. I never spoke again until you. Oh, Eva, you made me feel safe enough to try again. To believe my words wouldn't hurt anyone. Noah hugged her tight. Your words could never hurt anyone. They're too full of love like yours, Eva whispered. What happened next still brings tears to my eyes. 5 years passed. Noah graduated from Columbia with honors, started a non-profit providing music therapy for children who choose not to speak. Eva, now 13, was his first board member and spokesperson. At the gala launching the foundation, Eva spoke fluently now, though she still chose her words carefully. People ask me what made me speak after 7 years of silence. The answer is simple. Noah Williams saw me. Not my condition, not my father's money, not the problem I represented. He saw me, and when you're truly seen, truly accepted, finding your voice becomes not a struggle, but a celebration. She paused, looking at Noah, now 23, and running a foundation that would help thousands of children. Noah was homeless when we met. Society said he had nothing to offer, but he gave me everything: patience, understanding, and the radical idea that I was perfect exactly as I was, silent or speaking. I was enough. The foundation raised $1 million that night. Henry, watching his daughter work the room with quiet confidence, turned to Sarah. Did we save Noah, or did he save us? Both, Sarah said simply. That's what family does, but I haven't told you the best part yet. At the end of the gala, a young mother approached Noah. Her 5-year-old son hadn't spoken since witnessing his father's death. Can you help him? She asked desperately. Noah knelt down to the boy's level. What's your name, little man? The boy, of course, said nothing. That's cool, Noah said, pulling out a bottle from his pocket. He always carried one now. Want to make some music? As the boy took the bottle, Eva appeared beside them. Hi, she said to the boy gently. I didn't talk for 7 years. This guy, she pointed at Noah, taught me it was okay. Want to know a secret? The boy nodded. Words are just one kind of voice. We're going to help you find all the others first, and then, when you're ready, only when you're ready, the words will come. The boy's mother started crying. You really think he'll speak again? Eva and Noah exchanged glances. He'll speak when he has something so important to say that silence isn't big enough to hold it, Eva said. For me, That was saving my friend. For him, it'll be something else, but it'll come. How can you be so sure? Noah smiled that same warm smile from years ago. Because love always finds a voice. Sometimes it just takes a while to choose which one, actually. Let me tell you how this story really ends, 10 years after that first meeting by the garbage bins. Dr. Eva Whitaker she'd sped through school. Brilliant as she was stood at a podium accepting an award for her groundbreaking research on choosing not to speak. This award belongs to someone else, she said clearly, confidently. Noah Williams, who taught me that the greatest therapy isn't about forcing people to fit our idea of normal. It's about meeting them where they are and showing them they're valued exactly as they are. She looked at Noah in the audience, now married to a wonderful teacher with 3 kids of his own, all of whom called Eva Aunt Eva. Noah was 17 when we met, homeless, collecting our recyclables. Society said he was worthless, but he saw a silent 7-year-old girl and didn't see a problem. He saw a friend. He didn't do something unthinkable. He did something wonderfully, beautifully simple. He accepted me. She held up the award. This is for every child who speaks differently, whether through silence, sign, or song, and for every Noah out there who hears them perfectly. The final scene I'll leave you with is this. Every Thursday, even now, Eva and Noah meet at the Whitaker Mansion, which has been transformed into the Williams Whitaker Foundation headquarters. They sit on those same back steps where they first met. Eva, now Dr. Whitaker, running the clinical side of the foundation. Noah, now Director Williams, managing the outreach programs. They sort recyclables together not because they need to, but because it reminds them that treasure can be found in the most unexpected places. Remember when you couldn't speak? Noah asks, remember when you didn't have a home? Eva responds, we saved each other, they say together. A ritual they've repeated for years, and they had a billionaire's silent daughter and a homeless black boy. 2 people the world said had nothing in common except proximity to garbage bins on a Thursday morning. But they'd heard each other in the silence. They'd found family in the unlikeliest place. They'd proven that love doesn't need words. It just needs someone willing to listen. And sometimes, just sometimes, when a poor black boy does the unthinkable and treats a rich girl like a human being instead of a problem, miracles happen. Not the fairy tale kind. The real kind. The kind where broken people help each other become whole. The kind where silence becomes a bridge instead of a barrier. The kind where a billionaire's daughter finds her voice not through million-dollar treatments, but through the simple, revolutionary act of being seen. Really, truly seen by someone who knew what it felt like to be invisible. And together, they became impossible to ignore. Eva spoke her first word at 7. But she'd been saying everything that mattered all along. It just took Noah to help the rest of the world learn how to listen. And in teaching them to listen, he taught them the most important lesson of all. The most powerful voices aren't always the loudest. Sometimes they're the ones that wait 7 years for the right person to hear them. Sometimes they come from homeless boys who see treasure where others see trash. Sometimes they come from the silence between words where real understanding lives. Always, they come from love. And love, as Eva finally proved, always finds a way to speak. Thanks for watching, fam. If this story moved you, hit that like button, subscribe to Black Man Notebook for more real talk tales that inspire, and drop a comment. What's your miracle moment? See you next time.